All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another info session. Today we have a special guest with us. We have Mr. Alger Studstill. He is the Deputy Director for Protection and Safety for the State of Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. How you doing today, sir?
All is well, Mr. Denverville. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Well, today you joining us just to give us a drop a couple of nuggets about Korea, right? And I think that's something that's appropriate looking at the pandemic that we're in now, right? There's a lot of movement within child welfare. And I think that's going to be beneficial to our followers to hear some of the stuff you want to share with us today. But before we get started, I wanted for you to share with us, the breakdown the Nebraska's child welfare system, kind of like from the frontline position. What's the title? And are you guys state or county based?
So in Nebraska, we are state-based and we are under the umbrella of the Department of Health and Human Services. So within the department, there are 5 divisions. The Children
Right.
and Family Services Division handles child welfare. So our frontline staff, they are referred to as Child and Family Services Specialists. Then we have CFS lead workers, which support each of our units. We also have CFS supervisors who give direct leadership and guidance to frontline staff. And then we have what we call CFS administrators. So those are your service center directors, if you will. They manage the operations typically within that county or within those several counties that are grouped together. And then each area has a service area administrator. That is your regional manager, your regional director, responsible for really working with the community, working with providers, making sure all of the dots get connected, working with legal. And then all of these service area administrators report directly to me.
You got your handful, so I appreciate you meeting with us today. So for example, for example, right? You said child and family service specialists. So they're the folks that first responders, right? There's a concern for abuse and neglect. They go out and conduct the assessment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What is the importance of networking? If you think of child welfare, child for professionals, why is it important for us to network?
It's so important to network because I think we get caught in our silos. So if we work in an organization or if we work in a certain position, we limit ourselves to that bubble. And so I think of networking in twofold. I think first off, it's important to network internally. And so I encourage the team, you should be talking to your counterparts across the state. Just because you're in one particular county, if you're
Right.
struggling with something, you should feel comfortable enough to reach out to your counterpart, your colleague. But then externally, it's important to network with other providers. It's important to network with other agencies. So that's your Children's Advocacy Center, your CO, your legal team, your service providers, your foster parent organizations, because you're working with those organizations throughout any case. Law enforcement is a big
Right, right.
part, GALs. And so when you have that networking relationship, when something goes wrong, I don't have to just send an email. I can
Right.
pick up the phone and call the GAL that I've networked with that I know and say, hey, can you help walk me through and explain why this would happen? And so even at my level, I've started to network with other deputy directors, other deputy secretaries, especially in neighboring states, because we oftentimes have issues where kids are going back and forth. And it's just good to have those relationships, especially in
Right.
child welfare. One of my old managers used to always say it's all about relationships. And
Right.
I've seen that to be true. Like when you can pick up the phone and ask a question or get a colleague to come and do a presentation or train your staff on something that they've done, that relationship really is pivotal.
You said something, I mean, as you were speaking, something came to my mind related to mentorship. What are your thoughts? Do you feel that's an important piece in an organization, or for someone who's looking for growth to find someone that could mentor them within, through the path?
Everyone should have two mentors. You need that mentor within the organization that can help give you guidance on how to navigate. Because at the end of the day, whether you are in a county based system, a state based system, a nonprofit system, there will always be a level of politics. And if you are fresh out of college and you're starting in the work environment, you need to understand how to navigate the politics of work, and not just politics from like a political standpoint, but politics and just how things happen within the organization. But I also tell people get a mentor internally that is not within your direct chain of command, because you want to be able to have those conversations sometimes and not fear that is going to make it to your direct supervisor, or if you're struggling with your direct supervisor, you want to make sure you have just that safety net. And then I also say have an external mentor, have someone that's within the profession, but outside of your organization. Everyone needs a safe place to grow. Everyone needs a safe place. If I'm struggling as a leader, I need to be able to go and be vulnerable and say, I didn't get this right, and not fear that it's going to end up in my performance evaluation, or it's going to stop me from being promoted, or someone's going to look at me negatively because I'm struggling as a leader.
Right.
So I definitely think everyone should have at least 2 mentors. And that's something that has always helped me throughout my career.
So if you think of us as child welfare professionals, as we, go in our day to day, there's bound to be mistakes that's being made, not related to, falsification or, leaving a child in a safe situation, but, a different situation where someone could have made a mistake. So how do you think someone could, bounce back from that?
It's difficult in the moment. Allow yourself time to experience what's happening. Whatever the situation, there's going to be that personal shame. There's going to be that personal embarrassment. So you've got to work through that. After that point, be coachable. The one thing I can tell anybody is always be coachable. And naturally, we want to be on the defensive. And I've been there. I've been on the defensive when getting constructive feedback, and it hasn't been beneficial, versus when I've taken ownership of the situation, when I've acknowledged my part in it, and I'm able to really hear the feedback for what it is, I've been able to bounce back a lot quicker. One of the books I would definitely recommend anyone to read is The Ideal Team Player. Focuses on 3 concepts: be hungry, be humble, and be smart. And part of being humble is being able to say, I don't know everything. I don't always get it right. And so it's okay for me to say, I messed up, but then you've got to take ownership in how you move forward.
Right. Okay. Folks are always looking for growth, right? Some folks are content at their position, but there are others that are looking for growth, looking for career opportunities, looking for maybe a different role from what they're doing. I would ask for a few, but what's one of the biggest tip you'd want to share with our followers when it comes to, moving on to the next step, the next role?
My biggest tip, and it's what I've always told my mentees, remember every day is a job interview. Once you come into the door, once you do that initial application and you get your feet in the door, every day after that is a job interview. And so I've seen people apply to be a supervisor. They believe that no one's going to really remember their work leading up to that point. And you've got to understand, every day you show up to work, it's a job interview. So always act as if though you're interviewing for that next position.
Where can our followers go to apply? And if you could, what's the criteria as well?
So the website to apply is statejobs.nebraska.gov. All of our CFS specialists are hired in as trainees. So once you complete training, then you move to the CFS specialist position. But really, our requirements is a bachelor's degree. And there are some fields that we prefer, such as social work, psychology, mental health, education, criminal justice, or a closely related field. And I say closely related because my background is all business and public administration. So it is possible to be successful and to work in child welfare without that social work background. But one of the things I love about Nebraska, you are able to apply if you're going to graduate with your bachelor's degree within 90 days of your application. So if you're still in college and you're going to be graduating in a few months with your bachelor's degree, you are able to apply, go through the interview process, and we will even give a contingent job offer based on you graduating with your bachelor's degree.
Okay, well, awesome. That's good to hear. Well, Mr. Studstill, I'm really happy that you came here to speak with us today. Any last words you want to share with us, Mr. Studstill, before we end this info session?
No, I appreciate the invitation. Anytime there's a chance to just really help other professionals in the field, it's always an opportunity. So I thank you for the work that you and your team are doing to bring these types of resources to the field. It's truly helpful, especially in a pandemic.
Correct. Well, all right. Thank you, Mr. Studstill. Well, all right, guys, I'm Val, your fellow child welfare professional, and let's stay connected.